to Dualshock'd, the Brotherhood of Geeks PlayStation Podcast. This is episode number 53, where today we have a lot to talk about. We're going to be talking about Sony reversing their decision on closing the PS3 and PS Vita stores on the PlayStation Store. We have found out that Jeff Kaplan, who is the director of Overwatch, has left Blizzard. We are getting a Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake coming from Aspyr, the guys who've been porting the past Star Wars games to the current gen consoles. And our main topic, we're going to be talking about John Garvin in his interview with he's going to be talking about how, quote, if you love a game, buy it at full price. We'll be talking more about that in our PlayStation conversation. But with all that said, I'm one of your hosts, Brett J. Rasmussen, and over here, I got my other co-host.
Yeah, Spectre.
Yeah! What's up, man? Yeah!
What's going on?
What up, dude? Talk to me. What's been going on, Spectre?
Yeah, well, I just picked up Near Replicant, of course, so yes. I will be reviewing that. That's going to be an interesting experience. I'm kind of going in, we'll say half blind. I never played the original version, the PS3 version of it, so I'm going in sort of half blind into it. But I'm very much a fan of Nier Automata. I think that's great. So yeah. I'm pretty excited to play that, but otherwise just cleaning up Republic Commando right now.
Yeah.
So doing that, and otherwise not a whole lot else. A lot of easy platinums. Like I said, my goal is to hit 200 by the end of the year. So I'm playing a lot of really dirty, scummy games that you feel kind of ashamed to have on your list. But I already have Hannah Montana on my list, so I mean nothing's really gonna that's as low as it gets already. So I'm not really worried about anything after that. So.
What's lower on that list? Hannah Montana, or like the one game where I don't remember what it is. I know you have this platinum, but it's like the one game where you just have to have it on for like 30 minutes and you get the plat, or like you have to like press X amount, whatever amount of times.
Oh yeah, my name is Mayo. Stuff like that. I mean, there's so much easier scummy platinums now. There's platinums you can literally get in less than 2 minutes. We've come a long way since the days of Hannah Montana, but I mean, it's still Hannah Montana still took 8 hours or something like that, like 5 to 8 hours. So I mean, it still was you had to put gameplay time into it, which was even worse. You had to actually play this. It's the worst game you could possibly imagine, but you had to actually play it to get the platinum. But yeah, so I mean, I don't usually do that. I don't have nothing but just I have a lot of actually pretty long, and some of them are actually fairly challenging platinums on the list. But it's I'm trying to make my way to 200, so I'm getting there by hook or by crook. So
yeah,
we need to get you to 100 eventually. So
yeah, I do. No, I really do. So. I have to hit 100. I really should probably just do some of those scummy plats. All right, my name is Mayo.
Kind of give yourself a shot in the. I think once you get up to I don't know how many you're at right now, but once you get up to 90 or something, I guarantee at that point you'll be thinking about it. You'll be like, okay, well, I'm close.
I think I'm either in the late 70s, early 80s for my plats. I think
so.
That's where
you're kind of you're at that point, but you're not quite there, where you can see the finish line.
Yeah,
you want to really hit it.
Yeah, I mean, mind you, there are a good number of games where they are games. I guess from your perspective, the Telltale games are all easy plats. All of those are easy plats.
Oh yeah, those are the classic easy plats. I mean, you basically watch a movie and you get a plat. So I mean that's pretty easy.
Oh hey man.
At least they are at least they're a time investment though.
Well yeah, but the thing is the narrative is great. Again, I love games for narratives. And I have also actually come to recently find enjoyment in games that you don't need to immerse yourself into the game itself, where I can just play the game throw on a podcast or throw on wrestling or whatever and go. Like I'm like the game is like I'm playing it because I'm doing it, but I'm listening to other things and it's just kind of there, if that makes any sense. I've found recent enjoyment in that.
Yeah, that makes sense. But what have you been playing like recently?
Well, I mean, let's see. Well, I have been playing, of course, Destiny, because I need to get that freaking platinum.
So basically nothing.
Shut up!
Just
no, shut up, Spectre. No, I've been playing other things. Shut up. No, I've been playing other things. Shut up. I've been playing Kingdoms of Amalur. I have been playing Star Wars Jedi Outcast. I've kind of gone back to that. I haven't played Republic Commando, and the only reason I haven't played that is because I pre-ordered the collector's edition of that game from Limited Run. God, I love Limited Run. I love them. They're so good. Because I don't want to double buy it, because I'll be getting it regardless. I know it'll be for a while, because Limited Run is not the fastest when it comes to making their stuff, which I understand. They have to get the materials. Like, first, there's X amount of time that they have the pre-orders open. And then once the pre-orders close, then they go, all right, now we need these many things and pins and stuff, and then the cases and the discs and all of that stuff. So it does take time. I get it. But, that's why I've like all the Star Wars games. So Bounty Hunter, Racer's Revenge, Starfighter, Jedi Starfighter, like all of those games, Jedi Academy, Jedi Outcast. I didn't buy them digitally when it first hit the PlayStation Store. I went, I'm going to wait until it shows up on Limited Run. And this was actually, when Republic Commando showed up on Limited Run, it was actually really quick. I think it was only like a week or two after Republic Commando hit the PlayStation Store. Where, like, with Jedi Outcast and Jedi Academy, when that came out, like, God, that took, like, a month or two. That took a long time for it to, become available on Limited Run. Because I'm like, Limited Run is going to make a physical version of this game. I'm just going to wait for Limited Run to do that, and then buy it, and then go. Which I know you've been playing Republic Commando, Spectre. How are you liking it? Because you didn't play it back in the day, did you?
Yeah, no, I missed out on it. It was on Xbox, and I got Xbox very, very late into the life cycle of the system, so yeah. I wasn't, I didn't really get a chance to experience it back then. But it's surprisingly really good. I could see myself enjoying it, back in the day. It's really well done.
It is.
I'm playing it through it on the hardest difficulty, of course, just to to get the platinum and everything. But it's just challenging enough. Don't get me wrong. There's some frustrating design elements to it. So it's not without its flaws, but it can definitely be a little annoying at times of just, I've had, my squad mates like glitch out and stop moving and reload and save and stuff. But thankfully it's one of those games that's pretty forgiving with that. You can make like quick saves and, it's actually, it's pretty, fast to load everything. It's pretty well done. It's about as good as it can be for a game at that time. It's very like Halo-esque in some ways.
Yeah.
But I like it. It's not the most like fascinating story ever made. Like, it's you're playing as like an elite force of clone troopers, so it's not like it's gonna blow your mind or anything, but yeah, no, very entertaining. I like it. I would actually recommend it.
Oh yeah, Republic Commando is great.
It's only like $15 too.
So I bought, mind you, I bought the collector's edition from Limited Run, so I spent, it was $89.99, so $90, and then plus shipping and handling turned it to about $100. So to me, it's worth it because I'm like, I'm gonna get a steelbook and the box and look at this gorgeous thing, like girl. So, but yeah, no, like buy the game, get Republic Commando, it's amazing. All those Star Wars games from back in the 2000s were, oh my god, I love it. And we'll be talking more. We have some more stuff to talk about Star Wars later on, so that'll be fun. So shall we begin?
I guess. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and begin. Of course. Let's begin with what we always begin with. News of the Nation! I'm done. All right.
Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. All right, so we got some big news. We're going to start with this. And this is some very, 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 very good news that we got. From the PlayStation blog, the PlayStation Store on the PS3 and the PS Vita will continue operations. It will remain open. This article is by Jim Ryan. Jim Ryan wrote this himself, and pretty much it says from the blog, quote, recently we notified players that PlayStation Store for PS3 and PS Vita devices were planned to end this summer. Upon further reflection, however, it's clear that we made the wrong decision here. Of course you did. So today, I'm happy to say that we will be keeping the PlayStation Store operational for PS3 and PS Vita devices. PSP commerce functionality will retire on July 2nd of 2021 as planned. When we initially came to the decision to end purchasing support for the PS3 and PS Vita, it was born out of a number of factors, including commerce support challenges for older devices, and the ability for us to focus more of our resources on newer devices where a majority of our gamers are playing on. We see how many of you are incredibly passionate about being able to continue purchasing classic games on PS3 and PS Vita for the foreseeable future, so I'm glad that we were able to find a solution to continue operations. I'm glad that we can keep this piece of our history alive for gamers to enjoy while we continue to create cutting-edge new game worlds for PS4, PS5, and the next generation of PSVR. Thank you for sharing your feedback with us. We're always listening and appreciate the support from our PlayStation community. Alrighty! Talk to me, Spectre.
That just was like, I'm just having that come from him, especially. Of course, him, famously saying that, because that came right from
Jim Ryan.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, so he of course he was famously said that who would want to play an older game? He's known for that infamous quote in the past. So
oh really?
Yeah, it's kind of funny to have him come out and say that, and kind of it's like under like gritted teeth, like okay, like we're not gonna close the store. Oh, God. I really want to close the store, but you guys complain too much, and so it's so yeah. So no, I mean, of course, I mean that's great news. This is something we did like an episode on it. I think.
Oh, we did. I believe episode 51, sending out an SOS. That episode, we literally it was me and Guru Blaze. We talked about what should happen, and that was like when it came out. It was within that week that it came out, because we record this on Saturdays, and then we put this up on Mondays. And this news actually came out when episode 52, Remakes of the Past, and we kind of talk about how how PlayStation has been kind of like tripping over themselves very recently about the Bloomberg article where they're doubling down on their AAA exclusives and remaking The Last of Us, the first game. That's what it seems like. And then the news before that was about this. And
yeah, it's been a big focus for us, and obviously it's fantastic news. It's not 100% perfect. They are still closing the PSP store, but I think really, I think most of us have kind of, the PSP I can understand retiring. I know there's some big fans of the PSP out there, and I totally understand where you're coming from. I'm a huge PS Vita fan myself. So I understand where you're coming from, but I think I that one feels the least impactful out of all of them.
Yeah.
It's still not good. I mean, I'm not like praising them for that, but I mean, I can kind of understand that. I think most of our, I mean, I don't know about you. I don't know if you still have your PSP even, but I kept mine.
Uh,
Actually,
I think I do. I should still have my PSP. Whether it works or not, that's a different story.
my I have my Darth Vader PSP. I'm gonna be buried with that thing. I love it so much.
Oh, dude,
Um,
that thing is so nice. I want.
yeah,
I really do want to get myself the God of War one, which.
Yeah, I missed out on the God of War one, but I'm happy that the Darth Vader one was the one I used, and that I mean it's just a fantastic looking
Oh,
system.
dude, dude, I will tell you this: like, I used the PSP so much during my college, like during my high school college days. Like, I love that thing. That was like that had all my music. I used that more as a music player than it was a game system. While mind you, like I used that for a very long time. Um, no,
Yeah,
I
but
love
not to
the.
get off. I mean, not to get off on a huge tangent there, but I mean, but yeah, I mean, I mean, still, like I said, just underscoring that this is great news because I mean, it was we're seeing the ramifications of it right away, even before the store closing. We had people having issues with
Mm-hmm.
patches and
Yeah.
issues with
Yeah.
downloading games. We
Mm-hmm.
saw I saw. I mean, I'm big on eBay and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The prices for games were becoming astronomical. Um,
Splatterhouse, which is just like it's a dumb game and like it has a cult following. Like there are people who like Splatterhouse, but generally it's not a decent game at best, but it's pretty much just like a game. That game you could buy before all of this. It was like 5, 10, maybe $15, even online. Like not even like it was cheap. It was a cheap game. All of a sudden, it's 90 freaking dollars. Buying this like crappy game, I think it's based off of a movie or something. Like it's not a good game.
Splatterhouse is, oh, you said Splatterhouse, right?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, that's what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
no, Splatterhouse is actually. I mean, it's well before your time, but it was an old game series that had kind of and the PS3 game was sort of like a modernized version of it.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah,
no, we saw a whole bunch of random games become extremely expensive, and some of them are still very expensive.
yeah.
Which I mean, yeah, we were so I mean same with the Vita. The Vita games are already really expensive. We do still have that video coming of me. Um, doing my collection video. And I mean, one of the things I'll talk about there is just how ridiculously expensive Vita games are just in general.
Yeah,
And this is just, sent them to the moon basically.
yeah.
So yeah,
Um,
it's,
and the other thing is like, so the thing is like, why I'm so happy about this is the PS3 is still going to be active. You still have to buy all your stuff on the device itself. But I think the worst part about when they were like, yeah, we're closing this is that um, there are people and there are developers still making games for the Vita. Like it's not a dead system that most people would like to say that it is. It is not a dead system. There are actually developers who are like, we're making games on Vita, and we're developing them on the Vita. And then if there's a PS4 version of that game, it's a Vita port just made for the PS4. Like Lilimo Games, that is headed by Colin Moriarty of Colin's Last Stand or slash Last Stand Media, and I owned some of his games. I owned Twin Breakers, Sacred Symbols adventure, and he did Habraxia 2, and they're working on a third game. And when this got announced, what happened is that Colin Moriarty and his team they were sent. They requested a second Vita kit for development of this next game they're working on. So they got the kit, and then about a week or two after they got the kit, this news hit, and they were like, what is going on? And that's the thing, Sony didn't tell anyone. So Lily Mo and Colin Moriarty, who found this out, they found it out at the same time we did. So Sony didn't even go to their like developer, to other people going like, hey, just to let you know, we're going to be shutting this down. So there was a lot of backlash from us and from like other YouTube gaming YouTubers, along with a lot of backlash from the video game media, IGN, GameSpot, so on and so on. So and that's pretty much like everyone went, no, that's a problem. And I'm very, very happy to see that PlayStation kind of like stopped being stupid for a second and went, oh yeah, we shouldn't do this, because you're killing like a whole generation of games that won't exist. You're killing a piece of your history, and that's already like keeping video game history is already a problem within itself. So I'm very happy to see that this is happening. That we still have the PS3 store, we still have the Vita store. Now it's more like, fine, they found it, they messed up, and they went back, and they went, all right, we're going to back up, we messed up, we know we messed up. Don't do this again. Do not do this again. Do not come back to me 5 years from now, or 10 years from now, and go, yeah, we're going to shut off the PS4 store, and the PS3 and Vita. Like, what? No. Like,
yeah, I mean, I don't want to rain on the parade, but I'm sure this is going to come up again. It's just what's going to happen. I mean, we're gonna hear, there's going to be some attempt to close the stores again. I'm sorry.
And then the backlash will happen again. It will. I'm very much optimistic. I very much think that they messed up, and they're like, all right, we messed up. They're live. And, like, yeah, you have to keep these servers up, yeah, but, like, how much space and or money or how much, like, stuff are you using to keep these alive? So, I feel like it's less than what it's very much a small piece that you kind of have to, like, keep there. And mind you, that's free money. You're going to go ahead and shut off free money? What are you doing? That's literally free money. People will go ahead and buy DLCs and whatever on the PS3 because they want to. That's free money. You don't have to work at it. It's there. So, we'll go ahead and before we continue falling down this hole. But in closing for this topic, this is great news. This is very, very good news.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I'm very happy with this result. But like I said, stay vigilant on it. I mean, this is going to happen again. We know for sure it will.
I guess we'll see. Let's move on. Next topic is that Horizon Zero Dawn is now free by the Play at Home initiative. So, pretty much we've brought this up multiple times throughout on past episodes. Pretty much throughout this like spring to summer. PlayStation is doing this whole thing called Play at Home. And they did it last year where they went, because of the pandemic, they went, hey, you guys are stuck in your houses. Here's some free games. Don't need Plus. You don't need anything. Have an account. Download these games. And they're very good games. Last year, you got Journey and the Uncharted collection. This time around, you got 2016 Ratchet & Clank which was last month. And then we got like 10 different VR games. And then now, this is live right now, is Horizon Zero Dawn, the Complete Edition. So it's everything. It's the base game with the Frozen Wilds expansion on top of it, plus all the pre-order DLC and everything with it out there. So, again, it's a free game, and you don't need Plus if you don't have Plus. So just go find Horizon Zero Dawn or go to the PlayStation Store, add it to your library, and there you go. If you want to play it, which is a phenomenal game, go and play it. I definitely do recommend playing it. But the game is available to download from April 22nd to, I believe, May. Yes, so this is going to be available between April 19th to May 14th, and that's Horizon Zero Dawn Complete Edition. There's a bunch of VR games that are available up until, well, those are gone now. But Horizon Zero Dawn is available right now that you can download for free. Um, you don't like Horizon Zero Dawn, do you, Spectre?
No, I don't. I call it Horizon Zero Fun. I think I like I said, I for a free game though, I mean it's that's very good. That's a very good deal for it's a very long game, especially with the DLC. So I mean that's a really good obviously just great for everybody to have a free game like that. It is a very very gorgeous looking game. That's one of the the only compliments I can give it is it looks really really good. I mean, it can be kind of a fun turn your brain off type of game. It's a big open world with a bunch of collectibles and side quests, so fairly easy platinum. I mean, you could do a lot worse, and it's free. So I mean, yeah, I think the story and the characters are probably the most disappointing aspect of the game. The combat is actually not too bad, but yeah, I mean, for like I said, for a free game, you really can't you can't complain. And plus, combined with all the other free games we've gotten for the play at home, I mean this is this is great. I mean this was a great idea, and I mean we didn't at first I was like, oh, we're not going to get anything like amazing out of this, but I mean at least they are giving AAA games out of it. I mean that's what can you say? That's better than the competition seems to be giving. So yeah, I'm all for this.
Well, Spectre can go ahead and just be wrong about his opinion on Horizon Zero Dawn, because this game is amazing. I played that game. I loved it. In 2017, that was my game of the year. I loved it, and that came out the same. I think it came out the same year as Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. And I love Horizon Zero Dawn. Story's fantastic. I love Aloy as a character. The game.
I think if you skip the cutscenes and you just kind of ignore the main character or put like in a different costume or something, then it's a much better game.
Well, you can go ahead and ignore Spectre. He's just not there for a bit. He's just not there. But it's a phenomenal game, and I recommend everyone to play it. It won Game of the Year in 2017, and it's a phenomenal game, and I recommend everyone to go play it. The combat's phenomenal.
2017 was a slow year.
Whatever, dude. Anyway, let's move on. Next topic is that Square Enix is going to be joining E3 2021's roster. This comes from Video Games Chronicle, and as I have stated before, as always, the sources to everything that we talk about, any news that we talk about, is going to be in the description below, so you can always follow along with us from there. But this comes from Video Games Chronicle, and it says that Square Enix is going to be joining the growing digital E3 2021 roster. Speaking in an interview with Nikkei, I probably said that wrong, but it's very much a Japanese site, Yusuke Masuda, he was asked which Square Enix titles he was looking forward to bringing in 2021. Outriders, the release of which was postponed, was released on April 1st, and Nier Replicant will be released in April. In addition, Final Fantasy VII Remake Integrated will be released in June. We'll be announcing the rest of the lineup later, and we'll be planning to make an announcement at E3 in June. So, yeah, apparently at E3, this all-digital E3 of this year, the people who have confirmed to be there is going to be Nintendo, Xbox, Capcom, Konami, Ubisoft, Take-Two Interactive, Warner Brothers, and Koch Media. I don't know. They will all be participating in the event, which will be running from June 12th to the 15th. Square Enix has, it says in the article that Square Enix has yet to officially confirm, so they haven't put up a Twitter or whatever, but pretty much in this interview he's like, yeah, we want to talk about it at E3, so it's kind of one of those it's not official, but we're pretty much going to do it. So what do you think of this? What do you think of this, that Square Enix is going to be joining E3?
Yeah, I mean they've of course been to E3 plenty of times before. Hopefully, like I said, hopefully they have something good to show us. That's the big thing about it is, I mean, because they've had some showings in the past that I can recall that have been less than impressive. So I mean, I hopefully they have more to actually show us this time.
The other thing is that again, PlayStation will not be at E3. PlayStation is choosing to opt out again. Where this time around, Nintendo and Xbox will be a part of E3. So, there's that. I don't know how I feel about that.
I mean, I'm sure Sony's going to have some sort of event, but I mean, we just haven't heard about it yet.
Well, there's going to be there's going to be like a state of play or a showcase or something. Like, it's not that PlayStation isn't going to show anything around that time, because they will, just like they did last year. Mind you, we didn't get an E3 last year. It was more of like the Summer Game Fest that Jeff Keighley did. That was kind of the closest thing to a replacement for E3. But this time they're like, nope, E3. E3 is happening, but it's all digital this time. But it is still a bit surprising that PlayStation is choosing to opt out. Like, or PlayStation has yet to say they will be at E3. Nintendo has said they will be, and Xbox has said they will be. So I don't know.
Yeah, it'll be it's going to be interesting. We'll see what comes of it all here.
Well, as always, we'll be covering E3 during that time. So stay tuned for that, because we'll be talking about that in June. So. And we're getting close. We're almost at the end of April. We only have like about a month or so for that. So
it's gonna be here before you know it.
Yeah, I know. Let's move on. Next topic is that Overwatch director Jeff Kaplan has left Blizzard Entertainment. So this article comes from IGN. Jeff Kaplan, the director of Overwatch, has announced he is leaving Blizzard Entertainment after nearly 20 years with the company. In a personal message, Kaplan announced his departure from Blizzard Entertainment after 19 years. He has a full letter below, which is sourced. It states... Oh, it's really long. Yeah, it's really long. I'm going to go ahead and pull up this little piece right here. This little piece, pretty much at the bottom, it says this, quote, "Greetings, Overwatch community. I am leaving Blizzard Entertainment after 19 years. It was truly the honor of a lifetime to have the opportunity to create worlds and heroes for such a passionate audience. I want to express my deep appreciation to everyone at Blizzard who supported our games, our game teams, and our players. But I want to say a special thanks to the wonderful game developers that shared in the journey of creation with me. Never accept the world as it appears to be. Always dare to see it for what it could be. I hope you do the same. GG, Jeffrey Kaplan." So pretty much it's Aaron Keller, who is taking over as the new director for Overwatch 2, which is going to be the sequel. He says, quote, "Jeff's been a great leader, mentor, and friend, and he knows how much we're going to miss him. I've been lucky to work alongside him and the rest of the Overwatch team for many years in building something that continues to inspire people all over the world, and I'm honored to carry the torch forward." Kaplan joined Blizzard in 2002, where he started as a designer on World of Warcraft, developing quests for the upcoming MMORPG. He eventually was credited as a game director on WoW. In 2009, Kaplan spearheaded the unannounced project at Blizzard called Titan, a first-person shooter game. So that was I think that was what Overwatch was at first, and then it became Overwatch, I think. But he pretty much...
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, but he was the guy behind Overwatch. He's the guy who, Titan, and then Overwatch happened. So, yeah, and there's in the article, Aaron Keller talks about this also. I also have links in the description, pretty much the news. So it's the big letter from Blizzard talking about it. And then I have I have two articles from IGN talking about how developers and fans react to him leaving, along with an article talking about how vital Jeff Kaplan is. Now, just for Brett, I don't play Overwatch. That's not really my game. I haven't really followed his career because he's very much been a part of Blizzard. His whole thing is that he was part of like helping WoW get off the ground. He was a quest designer and stuff. He was credited as a game director, and then he worked on Titan, which then became Overwatch. And I believe that's what Titan became. Titan was the thing. It was first person, and then they found out, let's do this hero shooter, and that's what became Overwatch. I could be wrong, and if I'm wrong, go ahead and let me know. But as I said, I don't really know much of Jeff Kaplan's history. This I really do hope that Jeff Kaplan is going. I hope if he's retiring, he enjoys his retirement, or if he's going off to another company and going to be developing games there. I hope he lands on his feet and gets a new gig. But whatever it is, it seems like he left on his own terms, and I'm very happy for him. And it does suck because it seems like a lot of people cared about him, and he's a really it's monumental to them about it. I know you know more about Blizzard than I do, Spectre. So tell me what your opinion is.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely more in general in the know on Blizzard, but yeah, no, Overwatch is a blind spot for me. I don't follow Overwatch. I never really got into it. It doesn't really seem like a game that would be appealing to me. So I mean, yeah, I'm much more familiar with World of Warcraft. I'm not really sure about his specific involvement with it. Because so many people, I mean, it was an army of people. That has and still continues to work on World of Warcraft. But yeah, I would say, yeah, I mean, like I said, left on his own terms. So who knows? There's people change positions all the time and stuff like that, in one company to another. So who really knows what the full story of it is? I wish I knew a little bit more about it, but. Yeah, I mean, for me, just as a non-Overwatch fan, I don't really feel like this is it might be more of a concern to Overwatch players.
Yeah, and look, if you guys are fans of Overwatch, please let us know in the comments of what if Jeff Kaplan meant anything to you. Please let us know, because we would love to hear your thoughts about this and stuff, and let us know, tell us more about the Overwatch history and stuff, because this is not a game that we follow and stuff, but this is important to people, and I respect him for doing what he did in his past over the past 19 to 20 years, and yeah, I mean, he made Overwatch pretty much one of the biggest games out there. So, props to him. Let's move on. Next topic is that the PlayStation Plus Video Pass. So, we got this article coming from Video Game Chronicle, and pretty much this service, the PlayStation Plus Video Pass, pretty much, I'll read from this article. So, pretty much, Sony confirms it's quote-unquote testing PlayStation Plus Video Pass in Poland. Polish users have access to video content from today. No news of other markets yet. The service was leaked via PlayStation.com yesterday, and this article was written on April 22nd of 2021. So it would be on the 21st of April. So the article was leaked through PlayStation.com. Allows PS4 and PS5 users in Poland to access over 20 movie and TV shows from Sony Pictures as part of the PlayStation Plus subscription, with more content being added every 3 months. The test will run for a year in Poland. SIE's Global Services VP Nick McGuire told Spiderweb, which is another site, it was an interview. The exec said the company decided to hold the test in Poland based on specific data, and that Sony would monitor the popularity of the service before deciding on a full launch. We want to see, quote, we want to see how players will benefit from such a service. What titles do they watch? What do they care about? How often do they use them? At this stage, however, I cannot say it will be created and what the test process will look like for other markets, as well as what the future is for PlayStation Plus Video Pass after the test period. We're currently focusing only on the Polish market, on Polish players, and what their reaction to the additional benefit under the PlayStation Plus program. And he was asked why this test was being held in Poland. McGuire said, quote, "We know very well that we have a large base of players in Poland who stand out due to their commitment and activity in the network and social media. They also like to use VOD platforms. For us, this is the perfect combination, the perfect market to introduce a test service as part of the PlayStation Plus program and to see what our key users think about it. Of course, I cannot share exact data on the basis of which we choose Poland. However, I can emphasize that Poland meets all the criteria that is important to us. Your country is a mixture of very important factors from this perspective." So, what it seems like is that if you have PlayStation Plus, not only do you have the collection, so you have, currently, if you have PlayStation Plus, you get access almost Game Pass-like, a collection of games that you can just add to your library or download, and you have access to them, just like the free games you get every month. Now, if you have PlayStation Plus on top of the PlayStation Plus game collection, on top of the free games per month, now you get access to movies and TV shows. Mind you, it's specifically for Sony Pictures, but you get access to movies and TV shows on top of the free games per month, on top of the PlayStation Plus collection. So what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of a golf clap for me. I don't really, I don't really care. I mean, just it's God, what can I say about that? I mean, well, it's movies and stuff from Sony Studios. I mean, I mean, what do they really have? I'm just trying to think what's relevant that they produce, really. I mean, they have kind of an alien movie business, really.
I mean, there's a picture here in the article, like what it looks like in Poland, and it's like, watch Venom, watch Zombieland Double Tap, and Bloodshot. And mind you, Zombieland Double Tap, great movie, funny movie. I'm just there to laugh my ass off. That's all I'm there for. And Venom, fun movie.
Well, I saw Venom, and Venom was trash. Zombieland, if it's anything like the first one, it's also trash.
Shut up. Zombieland's great. You just don't like good things, Spectre. So
no,
whatever.
I just have some taste, but yeah, no, yeah. So I mean, I guess if it's well, quote unquote free, it's part of the if they're making this like an add-on to that service, I mean, it's kind of a cool idea, I guess. But
do you think that makes it more? Do you think that it's more of a deal? Do you think that's more like, mind you need Plus in order to play online? Now, mind you, Xbox has been kind of counteracting that a lot. They're now turning that a good number of their free games, you don't need gold at all. Period. Like, a lot of their free-to-play games are like, nope, you don't need gold. Just play. Go.
Well, I'm confused. Is this adding any games?
The PlayStation Plus Video Pass, or
yeah, like this is no.
This is for movies and TV shows right now.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, for that, it's like, who really cares? I mean, I'm not really like, I'm not really into like mine. Like, maybe if it was like pushing out like older stuff, but when it comes to like movies and TV, I think 95% of it's trash. Like most recent stuff that's made is trash. So it's probably not gonna have anything appealing for me. So
I will say that, like, the PlayStation Plus Video Pass, it is a nice feature to have where you're like, hey, do you get access to movies and TV shows?
Yes, yeah. I mean, as an added extra little feature, I mean, I guess it can't hurt.
It's nice, but you're not attacking the thing that is giving Xbox momentum. And this we talked about also on Sending Out an SOS, because like we talked about how PlayStation is just tripping over themselves. And one of the things that I think PlayStation isn't really doing to the best like advantage or like the best potential is to execute on the popularity of Xbox's Game Pass and creating a competitive version of PlayStation. Yeah, they have PlayStation Now. Which just to tack on to this is that in a tweet from PlayStation, there is a pretty much PlayStation Now will now be in 1080p streaming. So that's good. But going with PlayStation Now is that you're not using the thing that you have. You're not marketing it well. Like, not a lot of people think of PlayStation Now as that kind of competitive or the competitor to Game Pass. I don't think people know what PlayStation Now is. And even so, there are a good number of games that you have to stream, which streaming is not the best way to go about it. And yes, it is now cheaper. It's $10 per month, which is better. At least it's like competing to it. But there isn't a get PlayStation Now and you get PlayStation Plus kind of bundle like Game Pass Ultimate is doing. And like, that's what PlayStation needs to really attack, is they need to go, hey, you want to play PlayStation games? get PlayStation Now. Or honestly, if you want my personal opinion, rebrand PlayStation Now. Like, change the name, change the look, because PlayStation Now kind of still has, like, people think of it as, like baggage, like bad baggage, back from, like, when they bought Gaikai back in, like, 2012, 2013, with all of that stuff. And I feel that if they rebrand PlayStation Now as, you know, PlayStation Game Pass, I'm not saying use that, but like something equivalent as a competitor to what Xbox is doing. Now you're going to have people go, do I want an Xbox or do I want a PlayStation? Like, that's the one thing that they're losing. People are enjoying Game Pass because I can play any new game day one for quote unquote free. Like, it is, like, it's not free because you have to spend bucks per month, you know, $10 per month, but like any new game, like day one, it hits, you get access to it.
Yeah, I mean, you said a lot of stuff there, but I mean, I disagree with some of it. You know, I don't personally think like that. I mean, I don't really think that PlayStation is in a position of weakness by any means. You know, I mean, if anything, I mean, they're doing. I mean, PlayStation 5 is, you know, the fastest selling console, you know, by far. You know, it's breaking records. I mean, and that's with production issues. So I don't see it as an issue of. I really don't see it as an issue of, you know, they're in some kind of position of weakness here at all. I don't see it that way. You know, so I disagree with that. I do agree with some of the points you said, though. I do agree. I think they could benefit from a rebrand. It would be nice to see it rebranded. I would like to see, you know, some kind of bundle between PlayStation Plus and PlayStation Now. I think that's a great idea. So I think there are some things they can learn. I wish there was more. I mean, there's actually a lot of titles on PlayStation Now. I mean, you know, I just looked at the list today.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so there are a lot of titles on it. I wish more of them were supported downloading, which the majority still don't. So I mean, there's definitely work that can be done to make it a better service. I agree with you there, but I disagree on the idea that you know, it's somehow they're on the ropes or something.
No, they're
you know,
like current. If we're talking currently, no. But I feel that, like, give it some time, and if PlayStation just lets this go, like, there is so much goodwill towards Xbox, and Xbox is right now just, like, gearing up. They're pulling out the big guns. They're, like, again, they're on a shopping spree of buying studios. Hell, they almost bought Discord. And Discord, mind you, the only reason that they didn't is Discord went, no, we want to be independent. We don't know. But, like, they almost bought Discord. So, like, Microsoft is on a shopping spree right now. They have, I think it's like 22 studios versus PlayStation's, I think, 14. And then if we're going with that Bloomberg article that is saying, oh yeah, if you're not, like, and again, I'm paraphrasing, but it's like, if you're not Naughty Dog, if you're not Santa Monica, if you're not Insomniac, if you're not Guerrilla Games, if you're not the big guys where the games they have put out have sold millions upon millions, you're going to become supporting studios to work on their games instead of making your own. So that's what I'm talking about, is that, like, it's a long run thing that I'm seeing. And I'm hoping that that's not the case, where we're going to get this really good, healthy competitiveness between both Microsoft and PlayStation, or both Xbox and PlayStation. But I guess we'll only see. I guess time will tell.
Yeah, we'll have to see what happens. But yeah, I don't see them in a position of real weakness right now or anything.
But yeah, let's move on. Next topic, speaking of the supply of PS5s, in an article from Video Game Chronicle, is that Jim Ryan had an interview, and Jim Ryan has said that PlayStation has been quietly investing in PS5 exclusives. Speaking to Nikkei, again, the same Japanese website from before, PlayStation boss Jim Ryan said that the company has been, quote, quietly investing in the creation of first-party software, and that it could pursue further M&A opportunities to bolster its in-house development opportunities. Quote, we have been quietly but steadily investing in high-quality games for PlayStation. We will make sure that the PS5 generation will have more dedicated software than ever before, Ryan said. We have repeatedly engaged in mergers and acquisitions, including Insomniac in the U.S. We will not rule out that option in the future. End quote. In terms of upcoming exclusives, Sony Interactive Entertainment is currently gearing up to release Housemarque's Returnal on April 30th, which I will be reviewing, and Insomniac's Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart in June. Guerrilla's Horizon's Forbidden West is slated for a release date of 2021, and God of War Ragnarok, whatever the next God of War game will be, got a brief trailer for last September for a release on the PS5 sometime this year. Time will tell. Gran Turismo has been delayed to 2022, along with the quote-unquote remake of the original Last of Us. So yeah, and it kind of talks about kind of what's been going on in the news, which we have talked about. So, also talking about supply. Oh yeah, so he talks about how the Studio Japan, so when the news came out that Studio Japan has been kind of been pushed together, has been kind of like compacted. Because there have been a lot of people that have been let go from Studio Japan. This is not Sony letting go of the Japanese market, according to Jim Ryan. We will continue to strengthen our ties with Japanese developers and release content for PS5 that fits the Japanese market. And then he comments on the supply of PS5 consoles in the market and claimed that Sony has asked manufacturers to increase production. Quote, there are several reasons why PS5 was hard to come by. Supply under the new pandemic was very complicated, and we had to limit distribution to online. The supply and demand for semiconductors is also tight worldwide. We are asking our suppliers to allow us to increase production, which will flow into the market this year. So on and so on. Talk to me, Spectre. What do you think?
I don't know, you kind of lost me halfway through there, to be honest with you.
All right, so great. I'm so glad you listened to me. Hey, so pretty much he's saying that they are increasing supply of the PS5, and that they want to have more PS5 exclusives this generation than there were last time. Is that something that you would want? Is that something that you would like? And what do you think about them increasing supply? Like,
it depends. I mean, well, yeah, of course, the increasing supply thing. I mean, they've been talking about that, and I mean that's understandable, you know. But yeah, the more exclusives part of it, I mean, that remains to be seen. You know, I mean, it depends on what type of exclusives. I mean, we were just talking about before about them focusing on re-releasing games that really don't need to be re-released and remade already.
Yeah.
So I guess it really depends on what they're referring to. You know what I mean? I mean, it's like we'll see how that actually. It's I guess the devil's in the details. We'll see what actually happens.
And again, like they have Deathloop, which is not in-house PlayStation. It's made by Arcane, which Arcane is now owned by. Arcane is a studio within Bethesda, which Bethesda is now owned by Microsoft. But because of the contract that was made before the acquisition of Bethesda, that game is still going to be an exclusive 1 year. I believe it's 1 year for PS5. So there's that. So who knows? With like having more exclusives could just mean more. Oh, we're going to partner up with third parties and go, hey, Ubisoft, make an Assassin's Creed game exclusive to PlayStation, or like Prince of Persia, whatever, or go to, I don't know, go to Square Enix and have them make an exclusive, or Capcom. The next Street Fighter will be an exclusive also. Then Street Fighter 6 will be exclusive to PlayStation, just like 5 was. Who knows?
Yeah. So I mean, like I said, we'll see what it actually turns out to.
Yes. Let's move on. Next topic is that there is a new AAA studio that is making a multiplayer IP exclusively to PlayStation by Firewalk Studios, which, by the way, Firewalk Studios have developers that have worked on Halo, Destiny, and Apex Legends, along with other games. From the PlayStation blog, it says, pretty much, it talks about Firewalk's AAA team sets its sights on creating memorable multiplayer moments for players. So pretty much this article talks about that pretty much what the relationship between PlayStation, and it's not only Firewalk Studios, it's also probably Monsters. And pretty much it's talking about, I'm pretty much paraphrasing this down, I'm breaking it down. I definitely highly recommend go to the sources and go to the article itself, but I'm breaking it down. Pretty much what it's saying in this article is that they have now made a relationship with PlayStation to exclusively make a new IP that is multiplayer focused. There's not a lot of details about what this game is or what's going on. All it is that this is happening. And it comes from guys, our collective leadership is, this is in the article, our collective leadership is no stranger to building memorable multiplayer experiences. Ryan Ellis, our game director, was creative director on Destiny. Elena Sigmund, our executive producer, was a producer on Guitar Hero 2, Bioshock Infinite, and multiple Destiny releases, so like the expansions. Our deeply talented team has helped bring to life franchises like Mass Effect and Apex Legends. Combined with my own experience on Call of Duty and Destiny, we've had the opportunity to deliver some of the decade's biggest experiences to gamers, and we've loved it. And that's from Tony Sue. So again, it's multiplayer focused. What do you think about this?
It just sounds. I mean, I don't know. It's hard to be excited about
what I'm talking about is what I'm asking you is that would you like to see a PlayStation exclusive multiplayer focused game?
We've seen a bunch of them already. And they tend to not do so well in general. Just as a general rule, they don't tend to do so well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we'll see what this is. Like, I mean, I don't want to, crap on a game that hasn't even really been, given a title or a concept yet. But I mean, if it's just going to be another multiplayer shooter game, I think, I don't know. I mean, you got to do a little bit more than that. I mean, you can get away with that and still have a successful game with proper marketing. But if you want to make something that's actually truly unique and fun, then you need a really good idea, because we've had so many different multiplayer shooter experiences. I mean, the market is so saturated with them.
Yeah.
I hope that if they're going to do this, they try something a little bit different.
Yeah.
We don't need another. We don't need another Fortnite. We don't need another Call of Duty. We don't need another. I hope they make it something. We don't need another Overwatch. We don't need just another one of these games. I hope they do something actually unique with it. I doubt they will. I'm sure it's going to be something kind of like akin to kind of like a looter shooter type of thing, or blah blah blah, or Call of Duty Light or something like that. I mean, so I don't have high hopes for it. But I mean, we'll see what. I mean, they've had some success in the past with first party, kind of multiplayer focused games with, a somewhat unique premise. I like the idea behind. I never was a huge fan of the series, but I like the idea behind Killzone.
Yeah.
I like the idea behind Resistance. I enjoyed some of the games. So I mean, they've had. You can think of examples of like shooter focused, multiplayer focused games that have been exclusive to PlayStation in the past. So I just hope that they stick with a more original idea. When I read that too before, and when I read that, I felt like in the back of my mind, like, it's going to be like another cold, marketed game they're going to try to turn some, to some service type of thing where you're going to, grind at it forever and to unlock some new skin or something like that. I mean, I hope it's actually something that's unique and special. I mean, that used to be kind of what the, kind of the hallmark of PlayStation was, that you got these, you had these experiences that weren't always, I mean, they weren't always fantastic, but at least they were kind of unique experiences.
Yeah, no. And I guess that's kind of what I think a lot of PlayStation fans, people of the PlayStation nation, are maybe a bit worried about hearing from, again, I know I keep bringing it up, but it feels like it's the biggest thing when it comes to PlayStation. It's just like, if the focus is going to be shifting to more like AAA, like top end, high end, millions of copies sold AAA. You know, I do like, I do want to see some like different games come out. But talking about this specifically, about a new IP, a multiplayer IP coming to exclusive to the PlayStation, I think that's great. I think that's such a really, that's a fantastic thing to have. Because, like, yes, PlayStation fans, and even myself, I love single player games. That's my whole thing. I love single player games. But if you create a great story and a great narrative and characters that I care about, and it's within within a multiplayer game, it can work. And I would love to see it. I would love to see it become successful. But again, we don't know anything. All we know is that this deal is happening. So I guess time will tell.
Don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm curious about it. I mean, I definitely will be curious to hear more about it. I don't want it to be bad.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not rooting for it to fail or anything.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I want something that's kind of unique. And I'm kind of the opposite. I do very much enjoy multiplayer games. In fact, most of my I mean, not so much recently because I focus more on single player games now, but I enjoy multiplayer a lot. I enjoy multiplayer experiences. I'm looking for a good multiplayer game. That used to be, I have certain games that kind of scratch that itch, like World of Warships, or it used to be Battlefield, but not so much since the most recent Battlefield. But yeah, I mean, I'm looking for something to kind of scratch that itch again.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
Well, we may be getting another Battlefield or an announcement of another Battlefield later this year. But that's that's for another thing. But yeah, no, I'm looking forward. That's pretty much all I can say. Let's move on. Next topic. So before I go ahead and get into this topic, hey, Spectre.
Yes.
Do you like transmogging in your video games? Meaning, if you have an armor set and you want it to look differently, do you want to do that?
That's actually a fascinating question. Well, I think it depends on the game. I think there's pros and cons to it. So I could go either way on it. I like in World of Warcraft, for example, was first thing that comes to mind when you say transmogging.
I literally set this up for the next topic, and I have kicked him down a different hole. Keep going, but I just find this funny.
I'm about to wrap up my point, but
go.
I think there's an argument for either side of it. I think World of Warcraft prior to transmogging, there was something to be said about you could look at a person's character and you could tell, like, oh wow, this guy's got tier 2 armor and he's got a full set of tier 3 armor or something, or full PvP gear. You could tell a lot about a player just by looking at them, visually. Mm-hmm. And then after transmogging, it was anarchy. A level 1 player could be running around in tier 2, like the really high tier armor, or at least would appear to be high tier armor. So I don't know. I could go either way on it, but okay. Yeah, go to your story then.
Okay, so just I guess the question is, do you enjoy transmogging, or do you enjoy changing your armor to look cool?
I think to some extent, yes.
Okay, so. And this is an article from Destiny. So every Tuesday, there is this thing called the TWAB, This Week at Bungie. And this one specifically is about the new transmog system that's going to be coming in at the next season. So I'm going to tell you how this works, and I want you to tell me what you think, okay? Before I go ahead and continue. So, this is how you do it. So the things that allow you to change the look of your armor pieces are called ornaments. This is what you do in order to get ornaments. You need to first defeat enemies to earn a currency called Synth Strand. You spend Synth Strand on bounties and earn Synth Cord. You then convert the Synth Cord at the loom at the tower, which is the main hub, into Synth Weave. And then you use Synth Weave to convert an unlocked armor piece from your collections into an ornament. In order to get synth strand, you do that by killing enemies. Once you get 150 of the synth strand, you go to the vendor A1 to get the bounties, which give you the synth cord, and you do bounties by like killing people or doing, things inside of the game. And then you get it, and then you convert it. What do you think of that process? And mind you, this is the free-to-play process.
I think that's incredibly convoluted.
Yep.
I
agree.
I think it's I'm in the I know you're not involved in like stocks or crypto or stuff like that, but that everything you just described there sounds way more complicated than working that. So
it probably is.
This is for a video game. I mean, that's ridiculous.
So there's that. Also, you are capped at 2 armor sets, or pretty much 10 armor pieces per season. So that's about a 3-month time span. But you can also spend money on silver on the Eververse, which is the like real life to digital currency, which is silver, and buy for 300 is a piece of armor, or 1,000 for a 5 pieces, a complete set. So there's a lot of people hate this, and it's pretty much almost everything about it. Also in the TWAB, from the pretty much it's the big breakdown of what's going to be happening. Shaders are going to be it's not consumables. You can put them on your armor set. There, Bright Dust, which is another currency that you get in the game, that you get for playing the game. It's for using it on shaders, is going up from 40 Bright Dust to 300 Bright Dust in the Eververse, so on and so on. So this is about microtransactions, and I wanted to ask you first before I talk about it, because I do play Destiny, as I've talked about on this show multiple times. I want to know your opinion on how the system works, the free-to-play version, and 2, the currency, where you can just buy it. So what do you think about all of this, now that I've kind of explained it to you?
It feels like they've made this incredible. Like I said, I'm on the outside looking in. I'm not a Destiny player.
No, really, and that's what I'm asking. That's why I want your opinion.
It just sounds like it's needlessly convoluted, or or perhaps it's convoluted for the purpose of kind of pushing people to do the non free to play method of purchasing currency or whatever. So I think it feels like that might be what they're trying to go for there, because that just sounded incredibly just ridiculously hard to follow. Everything you said. It's just kind of goofy.
Yeah. So Bungie is in some hot water talking about this, and there's tons of YouTube videos talking about it, and on Twitter it's a cesspool of blah. But for me to break it down, my own opinion, one, the way to get all this stuff is dumb. It literally should just be, I go to A1, which is the vendor, get a bounty, do the bounty, get the thing, use thing on ornament, got ornament, done. It should literally be one step, do bounty, give me thing, done. That's it. It should not be kill enemies. And I don't even know if it's like when you kill 150 enemies, it's probably going to be more like RNG, where like you have to kill more like 300 enemies in order to get 150 of this Synth Strand. Who knows? It's convoluted, and look, here's the thing. Everyone who says we should be look, there have been a lot of people who have said, "Oh, take off the cap? There shouldn't be a cap." Well, the cap actually makes sense, because here's the thing: they are a business. I understand no one likes talking about that, and I've complained about microtransactions before. But here's the thing: Destiny is a free-to-play game, where unlike in a game like Assassin's Creed Odyssey or Valhalla, where there's Transmog and Valhalla. That's a $60 to $70 game plus whatever Ultimate Edition or Gold Edition you get, and then you have to go ahead and like spend money to get Transmog or go through a convoluted process also. That shouldn't happen in a game where you have to spend money up front, where with Destiny, you can play the game free to play. Yes, you spend money on an expansion on like Beyond Light or whatever, but you don't have to. It's a free to play game. I know that I sound like a sycophant saying that, but or you know.
No, I understand where you're coming from. I mean, yeah, but it's just it just
like
seems
what I'm saying is like if people are going like, oh, why is it on the Eververse? This shouldn't be a thing, and I'm like, that's non-negotiable. The Eververse is how Bungie is making money. You're getting a lot of stuff for free. They could be monetizing it much more harshly like they did years ago when they were with Activision. All I'm saying, am I a fan of this? Not really. I'm glad we got Transmogging, but the way this is done is bad. And the cap, maybe it shouldn't be a cap. Maybe it's more of after the 2, it costs more, so you have to grind out more. But if them people going, you shouldn't be like, why I should be able to unlock anything and everything. Like, and I will let you know, in the sources, I have 2 videos. One from Cool Guy, who is another YouTuber who talks about Destiny. He is a PvP guy. And Datto, who is another big Destiny guy on YouTube, but he's a PvE guy. So I very much recommend going into the description, look at the YouTube video, and watch them, and to get kind of get different perspectives on it. And that's kind of my perspective on all of this. And you can go ahead and look on all of the stuff about it. I'm going to go ahead and stop talking about this because we could go on and on about this. But we have one more thing to talk about before our PlayStation conversation. Next topic. This is my favorite. We talked about this earlier. Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake is reportedly coming from port studio Aspyr. So, back in February, I want to go ahead and get this point this out, because if you go ahead and look it up on articles from IGN, GameSpot, so on and so on, that this has been kind of said. Jason Schreier did his own research on this, and he found out that it's from Aspyr, and that's what he found out recently. Maddie Gaming, he also is on Last Stand Media, and he has his own YouTube channel, and he's a very big Knights of the Old Republic fan, like me. Like, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, like KOTOR, my favorite game, period. Ever made, more than God of War, favorite game, period. So, and this is all in the sources in the description, but on Twitter, from February 3rd, it says, from Maddie, I have narrowed down who is developing the Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic reboot/remake. And it's a thread. Aspyr Media is making the game. This is the team with the most experience with the IP by providing mobile ports, which they're the ones who did the mobile port, one releasing just 2 months ago, which is KOTOR 2, as well as providing a massive free update, along with doing an update to KOTOR 2 on the PC. Currently, they are working on a AAA RPG according to job listings. Aspyr Media was recently acquired by the Embracer Group. In a press conference discussing the deal, it was confirmed that Aspyr is working on a, quote, big internal project based off of IP. Here's where it gets interesting. In 2017, we discussed BioWare Austin. Star Wars The Old Republic devs are working on a reboot of sorts for KOTOR. That project was canned. Since then, Aspyr has hired a ton of BioWare Austin talent and has put them in lead positions on their AAA RPG. And the icing on the cake, I worked with Jason Schreier to inform people about EA not being involved in KOTOR's future. Today, when he tweeted that's on February 3rd. Today, he teased over on Reset Era that it is indeed Aspyr Media working on the game. I made a whole video about the number of days ago, but I get not everyone has time for that. If you do, take a look at it, and it's right there. And I've also sourced it in the description. And then I have articles from IGN, Eurogamer, and then on Twitter, MinMax had an interview with Jason Schreier, and that's where Jason Schreier kind of just said, hey, this is happening. and so on and so on. So, first I wanted to put that out there that Maddie Plays, he's the one who broke the news first. I very much want to go ahead and put that out there first. He's the one who did all the research. He's the one who went ahead and got his sources, and I very much recommend you go ahead and watch his videos about how he found this out, because it's phenomenal. But, with all that being said, what do you think about Knights of the Old Republic getting remade?
I think it's fantastic. I mean, I'm of course, like I mentioned earlier, I'm playing through, Aspyr's, they handled the port for Republic Commando. So, yeah, I mean, they clearly know what they're doing. I have, zero complaints about that port. I mean, they seem like they're well suited for this. They've already ported the game, before these games before. So yeah, and really for me, I mean, I haven't had a chance to ever experience these. I never really got around to playing them on Xbox, so I mean, I played their spiritual successors, of course, with the Mass Effect series. So yeah, I mean, I'm a huge Star Wars fan, and I mean, I've always been a huge Star Wars fan. Just honestly, at the time, there was just such a glut of games. That was the PlayStation 2 era. You just had so much to play. That you were spoiled for choice. So I just never got around to them at the time. But yeah, no, I would jump all over this in a heartbeat. I mean, I know the games are very well respected and loved, and you showered your praises on them many times. But yeah, I think this is fantastic news. I mean, this is in between this and Diablo 2. We have hopefully some really good remake re-releases coming up here.
So, while you were talking about that, I was holding in my excitement because, oh my god, I am so excited. As I have said before, countless times on this show, on multiple videos, I love Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic is the reason I love Star Wars. Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic is also the reason I love narratives in video games. Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic is also the reason why I love RPGs. I adore this game. I love Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. I'm jumping over my words because I'm so excited. But yes, like Spectre, I highly recommend, go and buy, if it's not free, but go and buy that game, whether it's for your PC or for your phone. I have already bought both of those games on my phone. And it's literally just a port. It's literally the exact same game that I played back in the 2000s when I was in middle school. Oh my god, I love this game. I love Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. This game being in the hands of Aspyr, the guys behind who ported Star Wars, Jedi Knight 2, and Jedi Outcast and Jedi Academy. They ported both Racer Revenge. They ported, not this game, that's Fallen Order. They ported Episode 1 Racer. They ported Bounty Hunter. And they're ported freaking Republic Commando. And I think that's all of them. Yes, those are the games they ported. At least as of right now, outside of Coder. These games are phenomenal. The way they have ported them is fantastic, and they know how Star Wars works. They know how this goes. They know how to do this. I will be surprised if this somehow gets messed up. And honestly, what I love about this is that Lucasfilm, or this new LucasArts game, Lucasfilm Games, they're no, we're just going to license properties. So now EA is not the only people doing Star Wars games. Other people are doing them, like Aspyr. Aspyr is doing KOTOR, and I cannot wait to play that game. The story of Darth Revan is one of my favorite stories in just entertainment. I love it. Even KOTOR 2, which was done by Obsidian. It was still BioWare kind of oversaw it, but it was an Obsidian game, and it still felt like Coder 1, and it still had a great story, and oh my god, I love Coder. I cannot wait for this game. I cannot wait. And oh my god, it's so good, and I am so happy that this is in the hands of Aspyr. I know I'm repeating myself, but I'm just that excited.
No, it's great. I mean, I'm looking forward to checking it out myself. You know, it's I like I said, I am a big Star Wars fan, so I am looking forward to it a lot. I mean, yeah, I knew you were going to have a reaction to it. I mean, it'd be like if they announced like a Silent Hill, port or remake. I mean, like that. It's on par. Of that for you. I mean,
oh my god, but it's in the right hands. This isn't where if this was EA, I'd be like, oh no, oh god, no. Like, no, this is in the hands of Aspyr. Again, they ported all of these games. All of these games. All of these games. All of this. They ported this. I love it. Oh, so good. I cannot wait. And I've played both of them on my phone, and Spectre, like, go download it. And if you haven't already also, go download it, buy it for your phone, buy it for your PC, play KOTOR. It's amazing.
Yeah, at this point, we may as well wait for the release now. You know, I mean, don't spoil it for yourself.
Oh, dude. Oh, well, true, because yeah, but still, you should still play that game. I don't care. It's just so good. Anyway, but yeah, that's the last news topic I have. We have one more, but that's for our PlayStation conversation. Are you ready for this, man? Are you ready for this?
I am ready.
All right, I'm done. All right, let's go ahead and begin. This is our PlayStation conversation. PlayStation. Alrighty then. So, we're continuing our talk about the Bloomberg article. Specifically, we're going to talk about Days Gone. So, an article from Video Games Chronicle. This is about an interview that John Garvin, who was the lead game designer at Sony Bend and on Days Gone, he had an interview with David Jaffe, the guy who directed Twisted Metal and the created God of War, the first God of War games.
Oh yeah, he needs no introduction, you know.
Of course, love David Jaffe. This article, I'll go ahead and begin. So, the creative director and writer of Days Gone has said that players should buy games at full price if they like them, instead of waiting for them to go on sale or be given away as part of services like PlayStation Plus. John Garvin was speaking to game designer David Jaffe on David Jaffe's own YouTube show, where he was asked if he had heard anything about any meaningful uptick of engagement with Days Gone since the game has been added to PlayStation Plus and the PlayStation Plus collection. Because mind you, Days Gone not only is on the PlayStation Plus collection on the PS5, it's also a free game this month on PlayStation Plus for your PS4. Quote, I do have an opinion on something that your audience may find of interest, and it might piss some of them off. This is Garvin speaking. Continuing quote, if you love a game, buy it at fucking full price. I can't tell you how many times I've seen gamers say, yeah, I got that on sale. I got it through PlayStation Plus. Whatever. And that's his quote. Continuing. David Jaffe responds, how do you know you love a game until you played it? Garvin responds, I'm just saying you don't, but don't complain if a game doesn't get a sequel if it wasn't supported at launch. It's like God of War got whatever number of millions of sales at launch, and Days Gone didn't. I'm just speaking for me personally as a developer. I don't work for Sony. I don't know what the numbers are. I can tell you that when we were doing Siphon Filter Dark Mirror on PSP, we got so fucked on Dark Mirror because piracy was a thing, and Sony wasn't really caught up on what piracy was doing to sales. And we would show them torrents. A torrent site had 200,000 copies of Dark Mirror being downloaded. If I remember it right, the copies could be wrong, but regardless, I was pissed about it then. I was like, this is money out of my pocket. So I think the uptick uptick in engagement with the game is not as important as did you buy the game at full price? Because if you did, then that's supporting the developers directly. Elsewhere in the 4-hour interview, and I do have the YouTube, like that video in the description if you want to watch the whole thing. But Garvin confirms that his departure from Bend Studio was based on his personality rather than anything to do with the performance of Days Gone or any potential sequel talks. After being asked directly by David Jaffe if he was fired, Garvin replied, quote, "It was a hard, long development, 6 years, and I worked 6 years of crunch. And here's the thing, I love working crunch. I love what I do, so it's not that big of a deal. But that doesn't mean it's good for me. So the last 2 years I've actually been away from the studio have actually been a blessing. I've been able to get up and do what I want. I've written 3 books, and it's just a different thing." When you're in development, it's a nonstop pressure of milestones, profitability, and people management. And to be honest, at the end of the day, what it comes down to is that we had a few heated arguments over the last year or so, and I would end up yelling and saying something like, "Just give me a package so I can get the fuck out of here," or some shit like that. And when it was just Chris Reese and I in a very small studio, that kind of heatedness was fine. By the time you get to a 100-person studio, you can't lose your temper. So on and so on. Later in the interview, Jaffe seeks to clarify this by saying, reading between the lines, which suggests that you were fired from Ben because you were a disruptive personality, and that worked with a smaller team and a medium-sized team, but the budgets and the stakes got higher, and the number of people that had to work on the team got bigger. That personality, at least according to the company, was no longer right fit. Would you agree with that? Gavin said definitely. Also, Days Gone 2's game director Jeff Ross also appeared on his show earlier, which is what we talked about this on our past episode, Remix of Remix, I believe, if not also on Sending Out an SOS, about kind of what happened with the pitch of Days Gone 2. So, pretty much he left, John Garvin left because of him, kind of like his personality didn't click. But one of the things that he says is that you should buy a game at full price if you want to support it. Talk to me, Spectre.
Yeah, and he brings up a really interesting, and that's kind of why I wanted to talk about this, because it brings up this really interesting point. It's sort of like the I understand where he's coming from. I don't think he's saying it in a very tactful way, because I saw people's reaction to this, and I think it's like it comes across as whining. At least that's how I feel it comes across. But I understand what he's saying is that it's on one hand. It's very easy to just say like, oh well, we should have a sequel for this or that, but if people don't actually buy the game and buy the game during that crucial initial cycle, before it becomes heavily discounted or given away for free, like Days Gone, for example, is of course free, with Fruit Plus at least is free now, or was free. So I mean it's you have to kind of make your money with these things very early on. It's almost like the film industry in a way, where they have to it's all about that opening kind of box office here. At least it used to be before everything happened. But so I understand where he's coming from with it. I really do. But I think it's as from a consumer perspective, Jaffe brought up this point is that how when it's a new IP. I mean, it's different when it's like a sequel. Because when you have a sequel, you kind of know what you're getting into. If it's a sequel to a game that you really enjoyed, or a series that you were interested in, you sort of know what you're getting into to some degree. It's not going to be. Very rarely do you see a sequel that's a complete 180, a completely different game. Sometimes you do. But usually it's you're getting a continuation of what you had before. For a new IP, I mean, sometimes yes, you can sort of get burned on it. I mean, we saw that actually last year with Cyberpunk. I was very excited about Cyberpunk early on. I was extremely excited. Then my interest began to wane, and then finally when it did come out, I still decided to give it a chance, even though I thought about canceling my order on it. I gave it a chance, and then I went because of the strong backlash to it, I went the refund route and got my money back for the game. And that's not always an option. I mean, that was sort of an unprecedented thing where you had this extreme backlash against the game. But usually, if you buy a game new or download a game new, you don't really get a chance to you don't really get a chance to return it. I mean, this is one area where I think at least my understanding of the return policy for like Xbox and PlayStation and Nintendo could really be improved, because looking at like the Steam example, for example, as an example, and I don't know if this has been changed recently with PlayStation, but I think it still works this way, where once you buy a game on PlayStation, you really can't return it. A digital game, that is.
Yeah.
But on Steam, you sort of get that option where you can have, if you have like buyer's remorse, as long as you have, it's within a certain period of time, as long as you have under 2 hours logged playing the game, you can actually get a full refund on the game, which I think is a good policy. So it sort of prevents this kind of buyer's remorse. Now, I mean, of course, that may or may not be fair to some games that are just don't necessarily take off after the first 2 hours or so, but at least it gives the consumer some sort of option to kind of protect themselves from this. But yeah, I mean, it's difficult. I think really the best way to do it is, of course, just at the end of the day, is to make a great game. And what'll happen is, you have to, from there, promote it through word of mouth, promote it through, people kind of flocking to it. And that's what'll lead to kind of the good to good sales then. And just hopefully that happens, when it's, still within that kind of that crucial period where the game is still making a lot of money, or has potential to make a lot of money. It's not heavily discounted. And I know that's tough, but I mean, really the best advice you can kind of give to them is just to make a great game, make a game as good as possible. And like I said, I haven't played Days Gone. I know you have, and I know you enjoyed it. But it just didn't, no matter what your opinion of the game is, it just did not have the word of mouth that got it to be as successful as they wanted it to be, clearly.
So yeah, is there anything else you wanted to add before I
I'll let you respond.
So first, I will definitely have to go ahead and say, I know because of the pandemic, I have been sitting in front, but there is a reason why we have this. I actually did buy the collector's edition of Days Gone, because I was actually very excited for this game. I was very excited for Days Gone. It looked really fun. And I really it's another zombie game, and there's tons of them, but I very much liked kind of the story that was kind of told about how it's about Deacon St. John and him kind of finding his wife, and like they got separated when the apocalypse happened, and he thinks she's dead, or that she is dead, or whatever. I have played Days Gone. And actually, with all of the news surrounding Sony Bend and Days Gone, and now there's a petition that is going around that is saying, hey, we want a Days Gone 2, and it's already gotten, I believe, 77,000 signatures. And mind you, I wanted Days Gone 2. I would love to see a sequel, and that's kind of why I'm like, why would you do that? So, relating to buying a game at full price, day one. I believe you should. I definitely do agree with John Garvin saying that you should buy a game if you are interested in it, whether it's a new IP or not. You should buy the game if you are like, oh man, this looks really cool. I want to play this game. Like, I understand that, like, we're reviewers ourselves, and there's reviews that go out, and, like, our job is to talk about the game and kind of tell us how it feels. But I feel that this game one of the kind of frustrating things that I've been finding when you go look at, mainstream games media. And again, the opinions that these people who write their articles, this is their opinions. There is no behind the scenes, hey, give us money. Yes, there has been, but is that rampant everywhere? No. And many people who have left IGN, GameSpot, Polygon, so on and so on, have said, I was not paid off to say this game is good or bad. There have been a number of them. So I do want to put that out there. So I do believe that whatever their opinions were, that's what they thought. So while you were talking, Spectre, I kind of pulled up Metacritic, and I pulled up like different reviews from different places. The top one was from IGN, and IGN gave it, I believe it's they pretty much gave it like a middle of the road score for them. It's a 6.5 out of 10. It's okay. Pretty much the verdict, it says, Days Gone feels bloated, like a movie that goes on for an hour longer than it needs to be or should have. It's messy and confused, peppered with generally thrilling encounters with rampaging hordes of zombies, so on and so on. So pretty much it's fine. It's okay. It's not good, or like, it's fine. And like, what's kind of sucks about the video game industry, that's why, like, I don't like, if a game doesn't get a 8, like a 7, 8, 9, or 10, anything over 6, or even 7 isn't good enough. It's either 8, 9, or 10. That is when, oh, it's an average game. Oh, it's good. Or like, oh my God, it's so amazing. Like, it's hard to get a 9. It's even harder to get a 10. But like, it's easy. Like, I've been seeing there are too many games that get 7s and 8s. And that's when you go, oh, that's a good game. I don't feel like this game was given its fair shake. This game came out in 2019. And I feel like that this game wasn't really kind of given its fair shake. Because here's the thing. The whole thing that I've been seeing in reviews for this game, you'll like this one, Spectre. It feels repetitive. I've played this game before. I played this style of game in other video games before. What other video game that you and I like, Spectre, has that same thing? We talked about it last year in 2020. What game was that?
That's repetitive and
I've played this game before. It's repetitive. I've played like this game has done it better than this game. It's our favorite game from last year.
Well, I don't think Ghost of Tsushima was repetitive.
No, we don't. I'm talking about what, like, from, like, the thing is that, like, what is wrong? This is kind of what it frustrates me. What is wrong with a video game that uses a gimmick that works? Oh my God, it's an open world game where you kill things and you get collectibles and you do crafting and so on and so on. Why is that a bad thing? Why is that like, if there's a trope that works, why is that a bad thing? Days Gone, like, look, Days Gone, I'm actually gonna go ahead and do a review of this game, probably after Returnal, but like, I'm gonna be reviewing this game, because I very much want to see how this game is 2 years out from when it came out back from 2019. Because I want to see, is this game like middle of the road, kind of like, it's okay, or like even less than that? It seems like people are just saying it's less than that. And mind you, this is from critics. It's bloated. It's boring. It's a slog. Like, it's like let me see, from Polygon, the last, it says, it's surrounded by confusing story and long hours of repetitive tasks. These moments are fun and challenging and too fleeting, however. They're surrounded by a confusing story and long hours of repetitive tasks. Like a zombie, it lurches through the motions, hungry for brains lacking its own. That's from Polygon. So, I guess, why is it bad to, like, we love the Ghost of Tsushima because of what they did with it, yeah?
Yeah, well, I think Ghost of Tsushima was the full package. I mean, yeah, you could make an argument that it didn't do anything that was earth-shatteringly new.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't. A lot of the gameplay elements, had been, I mean, there wasn't anything that was truly crazy unique about it necessarily, but everything was just done so well. Graphically, the story was engaging, the characters are well designed. The world looked beautiful. The combat was handled in such a way that it didn't feel repetitive, even though a lot of the game kind of revolved around just the basic core combat system.
Yeah.
It just worked really well that way. Where, like I said, I haven't played Days Gone, so I can't comment as well. But it feels like they, it felt like it was sort of like what they're trying to say was it's just kind of a mediocre game to them. It wasn't fantastic. It wasn't a dismal failure, but it was just mediocre. And getting back to kind of the original point, it just I mean that's why I didn't have any interest in the game myself either. There wasn't really anything unique or special about the game that drew me into it. Just it felt like it looked like on the surface. It's harsh, but I mean a lot of times in life you do judge a book by its cover, and I judge this by its cover and its premise, and I'm like, well, I've played games like this before. I'm familiar with this setting and this story. I don't really feel like there's anything unique that is compelling me to play this.
Mm-hmm.
It's the exact opposite of something like of like a Nier or something like that, where it's like, wow, this is really different and wacky and unique, and it has like a soul to it. And I'm not necessarily going to like everything about it, but maybe it's not like I won't see it as the greatest game of all time or anything, but I feel like going into it and playing it is going to be a unique experience. I want to know what happens. That's what kept me playing Automata, and even though I still need to finish the last ending on it. I mean, I want to know what happens next, because honestly, I had no idea what was going to happen next. It was a unique experience, and it was kind of weird and over the top in some ways, and but it was a unique experience. Like Days Gone, like I don't really have any interest in the character or the world or the struggle of anything. It just doesn't seem to be doing anything differently than what we've seen countless times before.
I guess the thing is, like, 'cause, like again, like maybe that's the thing. Because the thing is that people went, "Oh my god, this game is actually really fun." Um, After it went on sale, after it's free on Plus or free, I guess the whole thinking of is that is it better to like should we wait if we don't know about a game? Should we wait for when it's free on Plus? Or $20, that because by that time the developer isn't seeing any of that money. That's just like, well, it's been out forever. It's
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It sounds like I said. I think it's about striking a balance. I mean, we're not, as consumers, we're not altruistic here. We're not just going to keep, we shouldn't be at least. We're not here to just support developers no matter what, even if they produce crap.
of course, I agree. I agree.
And at the same time, though, I feel for developers, and you have this almost like a, and I think we all have this. You almost feel like you have a relationship with these people.
Oh yeah.
Even though you've never met them,
Mm-hmm.
or I mean, like that, like I have this nostalgic fuzzy feelings about even like old defunct studios now, like Westwood Studios,
Yeah.
because they were a part of my life. They changed and shaped my life in a way with the games and experiences they created. So you feel like you have this connection to them, and I think it's tragic what happened to them. I don't want to see other studios go under or get dissolved. I understand that completely. I think it's about striking a balance. I think it's really tough, especially with a new IP. But I mean, like, I think I'm glad you brought up Ghost of Tsushima, because that's a good example of this. Ghost obviously had a good marketing push. It's a first party Sony exclusive. It had a good marketing push behind it. But at the end of the day, all the marketing in the world isn't necessarily going to keep people coming back to your game and selling your game. What got people to what gave Ghost of Tsushima legs as a game was the positive word of mouth. I mean, even before we did a review for it, I told my friends, I'm like, and I even asked them, I'm like, hey, did you check this out yet? I'm playing this game and I love it.
Yeah.
And at least a couple of them actually decided to give it a try because of that. So that word of mouth, and I wouldn't have said that about it if the game was garbage. So I think that the goal for any developer is to as much extent as you can, especially for a new IP, pour your heart and soul into it, make a great, unique experience, and your consumers will take care of you at the end of the day. If you really make a great experience, they will, through word of mouth, they'll become rabid zealot fans.
Oh yeah.
Look at like go back and look at my video about Command and Conquer. Like I'm a zealot about that series. It's just, you just think of all the free branding I've given that series. Even right now, I'm talking about it. This is free marketing that they're getting from it even now. I think that's what you got to do. You got to make fans that are zealots, about these games. And if you make a game that's just okay, or a game that's just kind of mediocre, you might have an audience for it, but you're not going to have people, going out and doing the marketing for it. You need to. Days Gone. Like I said, I know you like it. I know a lot of people seem to like it, and it's getting an active petition for a sequel. But at the same time, it just didn't capture people's imaginations, and it didn't have that same effect that other games have had of pushing people into buying it. Even right now, I have the game. I own the game now because of Plus. And I still don't really feel like I'm going to play it. I really don't have a desire to play it still. Even now the game is free for me. Basically, I still don't want to bother playing it.
Yeah.
So it's really not price that's the issue. It's about having a good experience. Because Ghost of Tsushima. Let's say for Ghost of Tsushima, they came out and they launched that game at. They jacked up the price to like $90 for the game. People still probably would have purchased it. They wanted that experience. They wanted to play that game. And as consumers, we the best you can really do, with the way things are right now, the best you can really do is do your homework, do your research on a game, watch gameplay videos, play a demo if possible. Rent a game first if possible, where you can still do that.
Yeah.
Just do your homework on a game, and you'll tend to not get burned by it. But yeah, it's if there's a game that's coming up that you really want to play, and it's something you want to play day one, by all means you should go for it. If it's within your budget and everything, but I disagree with I think he's kind of going in the other extreme where it comes off as whining. It's like, okay,
I get you, and I can see your point with him being whiny, and I think him going buy the game at full price day one or whatever, and it's also kind of comes from a place where he also got screwed on Siphon Filter Dark Mirror on the PSP because of torrents, so that's money just gone. People didn't buy the game; they torrented it because the PSP was so easily broken into.
I agree with that, but at the same time, I don't know. That's a whole other can of worms, pirating. But I think with pirating, I do think there's something to the argument that if someone's just gonna pirate your game, I think. I guess the question, the way he looks at it is that's all lost sales. But my question or response to that would be, with let's say the pirating didn't exist, would that mean that all those people would have purchased the game then? Not necessarily. No. If 40,000 people pirate a game, let's say the game was instead uncrackable and there was no way to easily pirate it or emulate it. Would those 40,000 people then run out and buy the game? Not necessarily. I don't think so. Maybe a small percentage of them would, or maybe even a decent percentage. I don't know. But I don't think all of those are lost sales. I think, pirating, obviously, I mean, it's within a game company's best, developers' best interest and publishers' best interest to not make it easy to do.
Of course.
This all goes back to the famous Gabe Newell quote, where it's like, he said, the best way to fight pirating is to, something to the effect of that, the best way to fight pirating is to make the experience of buying the game better than the pirating experience. So that it's easier and more convenient for you to just purchase the game than it is to go through all the hoops of pirating it. That was his response to it.
Yeah.
It wasn't to, and I agree with his response. It's not to just lock down and make a draconian kind of like DRM system. It's just to make that, it's really easy for me to go on Steam, do a few clicks and purchase a game.
Yeah.
It takes a little bit more effort for me to go through and find patches and go to, Pirate Bay or whatever and download a game and make sure it's working.
Yeah.
And hopefully, that's a chore to me. I'd rather just pay the $20 or whatever for the game.
So I also feel like that because this was a new IP. Like, for me, I bought the game day one. I was excited for this game. I played it, platinumed it, had a great time with it. But I feel also, and I think this might be also because of the, how games media kind of is. Because a lot of the reviews, if you look from, a lot of the big names, is that it's fine, it's good, it has problems, but it's so, to me, reading the articles, it seems like it's okay. And for your average consumer, gamer, whatever, if it's just good, 6 out of 10, 5 out of 10, it's just good, average, that's not a game that I should get. I need the game to be 9s or 10s. And look, I could say that a mediocre game is Call of Duty or a sports game, and I could go on and on talking about that, but we all know that there are people who only buy those games. And that if they will choose to go outside of there, the only way they will is if it gets Game of the Year, everyone's talking about it. Like Last of Us Part 2, like Spider-Man, like Ghost of Tsushima, so on and so on. And the thing is, I feel like because this is a new IP and people weren't as down with it as maybe someone like me who was like, oh, I'm here, let's go. People went to the reviews and then went, oh, it's a 6? Not worth my time. And they waited until it was $20 or free for Plus or whatever. I
think that's a topic almost for a whole nother video almost we could do where a whole nother podcast where it's talking about review scores and its impact on games, because I think there's something to be said about review scores, but at the same time you do miss out on a lot if you use them as your Bible for everything,
I'm specifically talking about the score, not the wording, what's said in the article. I'm talking about the specific numerical scale, the number. People go, oh, it's a 6.5 out of 10. It's good. It's not, it's not amazing. It's not worth my time. That's why I very much do believe, we even ourselves, we use a 5-point scale when we review games. And we use that so that way we can kind of dictate where it belongs. But what's more important is what is being said about the game itself, or the movie, or the TV show, or whatever review it is. And I think that's more important. But so for me personally, Days Gone was a fun game. Days Gone was definitely fun. The best part about the game was fighting the hordes. I'm not saying it's on Days Gone from my, from what I remember playing it, it's not on the point of Ghost of Tsushima. Was it my game of the year in 2019? No. But I had so much fun with the game, especially because it came out about in the summer, in about that, April, May time. And And I played it, and they kind of got me through the summer. That was the game I played, very much so. And it was kind of a dead time during that. So, I feel like a game that is average. Like, I've talked about this with Order 1886. Like, I very much enjoy it. Not a lot of people like it, and that's fine. I'll go ahead and sit in the small boat when it comes to that. But I feel that games that are average, where it's not bad, where it's like horrible, like Anthem, but it's not amazing, like Ghost of Tsushima or whoever you talk to for Last of Us Part 2, or Spider-Man, or God of War, because those are like your masterpieces. Those are the ones that are like amazing. It's middle of the road, good, stable. Any game that is average, it feels like it's not worth it. And that's why people are now, there's such an uptick on PlayStation Plus, because it's a free game on Plus for this month, and on the PlayStation Plus collection on the PS5, or people buying it for $20 at GameStop or Best Buy or wherever. Because people are talking about it, so now people are playing it and stuff, and there's more of an uptick because now it's all in the news. But when it came out, it was such middle of the road. That's not enough. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Why I feel like I agree with John Garvin.
And I think you brought up sort of a tragedy of sometimes people don't realize until much later, and I think we've all had that experience where we'll play a game, or like maybe we just wouldn't have gotten around to a game. Like maybe, like, for example, KOTOR. Like I just never got around to the game. It wasn't because I didn't like the game. The game probably appeals to me quite a bit as a Star Wars fan, but I just never got around to it. Mm-hmm. And I mean that's a sale that was missed out on there, because I mean, by any logical measure, I should have picked up that game. Of course, part of it too was at the time, you just weren't as aware of the game. I mean, of course, the internet was around back then, but you weren't as we weren't as well informed as we are now about what's coming out and when. But yeah, I mean, sometimes you do have those situations where you come to a game way late, you're late to the party, and you find out that you love it. I mean, that was arguably me with Silent Hill as well, which is basically my favorite game series of all time. Mm-hmm. I didn't get into Silent Hill right away. I missed out on Silent Hill 1, and I started off with Silent Hill 2, because I wasn't even aware of Silent Hill 1.
Yeah.
Even though I had a PlayStation, I could have played that game. I just wasn't aware of the game's existence even until I just stumbled upon Silent Hill 2. Yeah. So, I mean, you do have those cases where it's unfortunate. Like, I mean, there probably is a lot of people that would like Days Gone. Hell, maybe even I would like Days Gone if I actually sat down and played it. But it's just you kind of miss out. I mean, it's that's just kind of part of life. So I mean, even if you do, I guess I shouldn't say, like, you're not necessarily guaranteed. Even if you do make a great game, that's still not necessarily a guarantee. You have to get people interested in playing it too.
And I feel like I feel like that's why PlayStation is doubling down on their AAAs. Because think about it, Last Guardian is another average game. I love that game. That game is great, but it is if you look at it, it's an average game, and it is very nichey. It is like either you love it or you hate it. There's a good number of games that are average, not bad, not like, as I said, not to the point of Anthem where it's just horrible. But it's not Ghost of Tsushima or God of War. It is average. It is still fun to play, has good qualities, whether it's narrative, gameplay, graphics, a combination of them, whatever. Like, it has good qualities, but it falls prey to whatever it does. And hence making it average. Hence why people don't buy it day one. Because it's average. You don't hear people talk about it on point like God of War, like Spider-Man, like Last of Us Part 2, regardless of where you stand, whether you love it or hate it, same thing. Like, people are talking about it. So on and so on. Like, that's why there's this uptick of Days Gone, because everyone's going, oh my god, what is happening to Sony Bend? I need to play this game now. Like, that's kind of what's happening. So, I just, it's a tragedy of averageness. I don't know if that's a word, but like that's what it feels like. It's a tragedy of average, where if it's average, not worth my time, because not everyone's like me or you. Because I know I buy games like almost every month. I feel like you do the same. Maybe not on the same point as I do, but like you and I buy games pretty often. Yes.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we buy games all the time, and I think we make an effort to try to play as many as possible. But even then, we still, that's part of it is no one, unless you're just unemployed and you have nothing to do, no one can play everything.
But what I'm saying is, whether it's time or money, your average gamer only buys maybe 2 or 3 games a year, and it's the go-to shooter, so Call of Duty, Battlefield, whatever, and your sports game, NBA, WWE, FIFA, Madden, whatever. And then that third one, if it's there, is that one, it's Cyberpunk from last year, or whatever big, Red Dead Redemption 2, whatever the biggest game that everyone knows about, people buy. Your average gamer doesn't go ahead and buy, this Days Gone, what is this? So on and so on. Because I remember Days Gone getting good marketing for it. I remember that. But, like, it is the reviews come out, it's average, not worth my time, so on and so on. And there's a lot of games that fall prey to that. This game is average. I'll play it later. I'll wait until it goes on sale. And then you play it and you find out it's amazing. It's already too late, because now, like, if Sony Bend is just a supplementary studio now to Naughty Dog, and all that Sony Bend is doing is they're just going to make the multiplayer for whatever Uncharted game is going to come out. Great. You have so much potential. And that's kind of the thing. There are so many games that have new IPs that become even better, astronomically better, when they get the sequel. Like, look at I'll talk about one of my favorite franchises, Assassin's Creed. Assassin's Creed 1, fun game, but it is very repetitive. Go to a city, talk to the assassin guy there, get your contract, do 3 to 5 tasks so that way you can go and do the assassination contract, kill the guy, go back to base, do it all over again. That was how Assassin's Creed 1 worked. Then Assassin's Creed 2 happened. That's Ezio. That's where, that was this is Assassin's Creed, was Assassin's Creed 2. If Ubisoft didn't, take another shot on Assassin's Creed and just went, we'll leave it at Assassin's Creed 1, you may never have gotten Assassin's Creed 2. There's so many games that, Sony, Microsoft, took risks on and went, make a sequel, let's see what you do. Crash Bandicoot, Spyro, those were risks. Not saying, Crash Bandicoot, what is this? Crash 1? Okay. And it got popular, but then it was Crash 2. I remember Crash 2 when I grew up. I didn't play Crash 1. I played Crash 2 on the PS1. Then I went back to play the first Crash. Sometimes it is worth giving a studio a second shot to be like, all right, because the thing is that game either made profit or equaled out. If worst equaled out, but I'm pretty sure they made somewhat of a profit. Maybe not to the point of God of War, but they made a profit. And I'm glad that there's a petition for Days Gone 2. I want to see a Days Gone 2. I want to see that happen. But I just don't want to see Sony Bend be just, hey, they made the multiplayer for whatever Uncharted game. So yeah.
Yeah, no, it's like I said, I feel for them. I feel for the fans that want to that really want a sequel. Maybe it'll happen. That's the other thing too is just because they can't do it right now. Maybe it'll happen down the road. Sometimes you can actually successfully revive a series that's been dormant for a long time. We've seen that time and time again. We saw that with Deus Ex. You see that with a lot of series where they kind of come back from the dead after a while.
I guess my last question for you before we close off is, do you think that Days Gone deserves a sequel? Should there be a Days Gone 2?
I'm kind of the wrong person to ask about that because I haven't played it. I mean, it also depends on your perspective. From a fan's perspective, I'm sure the answer is obviously yes. From an outsider's perspective, I'm sort of ambivalent. I could go either way on it. And then obviously from the publisher and studio perspective, the answer is no. Because it didn't generate enough interest and sales that warrant a sequel. So that kind of answers your question.
Yeah, and look, I get it. I understand. I'm not going to be the guy to go ahead and be like, no, make a sequel even though you'll lose money on it. Like, no. I understand the thinking that Days Gone didn't make as much money as, God of War or Spider-Man or whatever. You didn't hit those numbers. It did make profit, but it wasn't a lot. They pretty much equaled out and made some profit. I understand that the whole reason video games exist is to make money. That's the whole reason they exist. Is it art? Yes. Video games are art, but it's also about making money too. So I understand it from Sony, the publisher, from their perspective of like, yeah, I don't know. Should we make a Days Gone 2? Yeah, probably not. But now with this outcry of like people finding out, oh wait, they shot it down? And I really hope that Sony is seeing this and goes, all right, let's give it another shot. There's such an outcry for this game. Let's make a Days Gone 2. And I hope there is. I hope that there will be a Days Gone 2. But I will definitely say, Days Gone, there is a bit of a cliffhanger at the end. But it does have a complete ending. So that way, if this is the last one, if there is no Days Gone 2, it does have an ending. But I would love for Sony and PlayStation to make a Days Gone 2 and to take another risk and really build upon what they had with Days Gone 1, with the original Days Gone. And the pitch that they had sounded really fun, really cool. This overlapping with, online and single player world. Like, we talked about it, but like I would love to see that happen. And I hope that sometime in the future we do get a Days Gone 2 and Sony Bend are the guys that are making it. And Sony Bend is their own studio, not just a supplementary studio helping Naughty Dog or Santa Monica or whoever making whatever multiplayer. That's it. Like, I want PlayStation studios to make different games, not just your God of Wars and Spider-Mans and Last of Us's and so on and so on. So yeah, I think that is it. So guys, thank you so much for watching. This is a bit of a long one. We had a lot to cover and we kind of went on little tangents on it, but that's okay. But guys, thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, youtube.com/Brotherhood of Geeks. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Tell all your buddies, tell your friends, tell everyone you know, tell everyone you don't know. And I would love to go ahead and hear what you guys think about, should we get a Days Gone 2? Or whatever you think about any of the topics that we have talked about today. We would love to hear from. So yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching. Also, you can follow us on Facebook, which is facebook.com/TheBrotherhood of Geeks. You can also follow us on Twitter at Dualshock'd, BOG. That's the name of our PlayStation podcast, Dualshock'd, BOG. And then you can also follow us on Twitch when we stream at twitch.tv/Brotherhood of Geeks. We have a lot of stuff coming up. We have a lot of changes that are going to be coming up very soon. So stay tuned, and we're coming close to E3, so there's that too.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. I mean, it's always an exciting time of the year, So I mean, we're only a month and a half away, not even.
Yeah,
so
about yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's coming soon. So, it'll be an interesting year. Hopefully, we'll get a lot of like reveals and some firm answers on like when certain things are coming, especially God of War. So,
Yep. So
I'm excited.
But yeah, so first, Spectre, go and play KOTOR on your phone. It's great, and everyone who hasn't, go play that, because KOTOR's great. And also, go play Days Gone. Go play it. I would love to hear your thoughts on Days Gone also in the comments, if you have played Days Gone or have not played Days Gone. Hence why this is here. But alrighty then. Well then, I'm Brett J. Rasmussen. That way.
And I'm second.
And as always, live to play together. I'll see you guys next time.